I was asked to talk for about an hour or so. I heard you'd really enjoy that. I'm not going to do anything like that. Normally, have a couple of United States senators, and they're talking about their work on the floor of the United States Senate. You know, that all-important amendment to the amendment to the amendment to the amendment. You sort of get my drift. Or their work on some subcommittee like the Committee on Acoustics and Ventilation or something like that. But today, we're here because we showed in the last Congress that we are just inches, literally inches away from passing comprehensive legislation to finally go to bat for those who are victimized by this brutal, brutal crime of sex trafficking. And I'm here to tell you it is about time. Thank you for your work. And you know the statistics. And I very much want to introduce Mira Sorvino, but I want to relate this in a way that I think we're seeing in communities all across the country. The criminals, to a great extent, have traded their past criminal activity for sex trafficking because it's easy. In other words, a lot of the criminals who are involved in drugs and other kind of activity have said it's easier to make big money more quickly by trafficking in young women. And particularly with the internet has given them the anonymity that they haven't had with previous kinds of criminal acts. So that's why it's important that the United States Congress be a better and smarter partner in helping all of you and local communities. And that's essentially what our legislation would do. Our legislation is designed to get shelters out across the country because we know young women have got to be in a position to get ready to testify against the criminals. Very often, that requires some pretty sensitive and thoughtful work to get those young women, ready to testify. And I know we've got survivors here who know firsthand and are going to talk about that. And then we want to help our prosecutors and our law enforcement officials, many of whom under very tight budgets are now making time to make this finally a top priority. And I can tell you the reason I think your work is so vital is all across this country, from coast to coast, we see young women every single evening with what I call the tools of the trade. They have to have weapons to protect themselves from the pimps and people on the street. I saw a 15-year-old woman not long ago with a 15-inch butcher knife that she took out of her purse, where she also kept her cell phone and she kept the condoms because at 11 o'clock at night she was going to have 3 more customers. So that's what we're trying to do, is to reach those young women and make it clear they are going to have better and healthier alternatives in their lives. And we got awfully close last Congress, and this time we're going to get it done. And one of the reasons we're going to be able to get it done this time is we have the continued and outspoken advocacy of Mira Sorvino. And I don't want to make this a full-fledged bouquet tossing contest, Mira, but I want you to know that I'm of the view that Mira Sorvino is really the bionic woman, a relentless force for justice and helping these young women. And what I'm particularly grateful for is what you all don't see and what most of America doesn't see. Mira Sorvino is one of those individuals who understands that it often can be helpful on a day like this for a celebrity to draw attention to the cause. But Mira Sorvino works even harder when the TV cameras aren't on. When the TV cameras aren't on, and this morning, you're not going to read about it tomorrow in the newspapers or see it across TV, but this morning, Mira was at Shay's place. which is a tiny, tiny facility, just a handful of people. No TV cameras, no media, but they were all survivors. They were all survivors, and she wanted, as part of this visit, to come once again and see firsthand what you all are dealing with. She's an Academy Award-winning actress, a magna cum laude graduate of Harvard University, an Academy Award-winning actress, United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. We are so, so lucky to have her on our side and to start this Congress, coming so close in the last Congress to passing this crucial legislation, and to have Mira here today for our kickoff is an indication that all of your hard work is going to pay off. This time, the United States Congress is going to pass comprehensive legislation to combat sex trafficking. We're beginning it at the right time, the beginning of the Congress. Please help us with a big send-off now for Mira Sorvino. Here's the bell. Thank you so, so much. Great.